Have you ever noticed that you are aware right now? You are aware of these words. You may be aware of sounds around you. You may be aware of sensations in your body. You may be aware of thoughts, feelings, and images moving through your mind. But have you ever turned your attention towards the awareness itself? Not towards a thought, not towards the breath, not towards a sensation, not toward a spiritual image or a special experience, but toward that which is aware of all experience. This is the basis of awareness meditation. It is the practice of recognizing awareness, not merely being aware of something, but becoming aware of awareness itself. In this video, I will explain what this practice is, why it is central to many non-dual traditions, how it relates to the teaching of Ramana Maharshi, why it is so simple yet surprisingly difficult, and how you can practice it in a clear, practical way. At the end of this explanation, I will provide you another YouTube link to a guided awareness of awareness meditation practice that you can follow along. Let us begin with a simple question. What are you aware of right now? Perhaps you are aware of my voice. Perhaps you are aware of your body sitting on a chair. Perhaps you are aware of your thoughts, emotions, or sounds. These are all objects of awareness. They are experiences that appear and disappear. But now ask a slightly different question. What is aware of this experience? When you hear a sound, the sound is known. When you feel a sensation, the sensation is known. When a thought appears, the thought is known. Awareness of awareness practice directs attention toward this knowing itself. It is not simply being aware of objects. It is recognizing the awareness in which objects appear and through which they are known. This practice is described using several different names. You may hear it called being aware of being aware, awareness watching awareness, awareness of awareness, knowing the knowing, awareness aware of itself, resting as awareness, self-knowing awareness, self-recognition, open awareness, or non-dual awareness meditation. In some context, self-inquiry or Atma Vichara. These expressions come from different teachers and traditions. So, they are not always perfectly identical. Some emphasize open monitoring. Some emphasize the question, who am I? Some emphasize resting as awareness. Some emphasize the recognition that awareness is already present before any effort is made. But they point toward a similar experiential movement. Attention turns away from being completely absorbed in experience and recognize the awareness that knows that experience. Consider what happens when you are using your phone. You may become absorbed in a video, a photograph, an email message, or a text message, or a social media feed. Your attention goes in the content. You may completely forget that the content is appearing on a screen. The screen is always present, but it is usually overlooked completely. The same thing happens in an ordinary experience. We become absorbed in thoughts, emotions, sensations, and perceptions. We notice the content of our experiences, but we overlook the awareness in which the content is appearing. Awareness of awareness meditation is like remembering the screen while still allowing the content to appear. You do not have to stop the video. You do not have to make the screen blank. You simply notice both the content and the screen. In meditation, thoughts may continue, sound may continue, sensation may continue, but you recognize the awareness in which all of them appear. The screen metaphor is only a pointer. Awareness is not literally a physical screen. The point is that changing experiences appear within a context of knowing that is easy to overlook, because attention is usually captured by the changing content. Why is this practice considered so important in non-dual meditation? Most ordinary experience is structured around a division. There seems to be a subject here who is aware and an object that is being observed. There is a thinker and there is a thought, a hearer and a sound, a seer and something seen, a meditator and an object of meditation. This structure is useful in everyday life. It helps us function, communicate, and navigate the world. But non-dual practice investigates whether this division is as solid and as separate as it appears. When you examine an experience carefully, you will find an object appearing and you will find that it is known. You then begin to investigate the knower. Can the knower be found as a separate object? Can awareness be located in a way that chair can be located? Is awareness really separate from the experience that it knows? Non-dual traditions use different languages to describe this investigation. Advaita Vedanta speaks about the self. pure awareness, and the witness. Buddhist traditions may speak about open awareness, non-conceptual awareness, rigpa, or the absence of a fixed subject-object structure. Mahamudra and Dzogchen often use direct pointing out instructions that invite the practitioners to recognize the knowing quality of mind directly. Zen may emphasize simply sitting and seeing experience without grasping. These traditions have important differences, and we should not pretend that they all teach the same thing. These traditions have important differences, and we should not pretend that they all teach exactly the same thing. But at a practical level, many non-dual approaches make a similar movement. Rather than continually directing attention towards an object, they invite the practitioner to recognize the nature of knowing itself. This is why awareness of awareness practice can be understood as one of the central movements of non-dual meditation. It is not necessarily the only practice. It is not necessarily presented in the same way by every tradition, but it goes directly to the question at the heart of non-duality. Is awareness separate from what appears in awareness? Or is it the apparent division itself something appear within awareness? This brings us to Ramana Maharshi. Ramana Maharshi did not always use the modern phrase awareness of awareness. His central teaching was known as self-inquiry or Atma Vichara. The question most associated with this teaching is, who am I? But this question was not intended as an invitation to create a philosophical answer. It is not asking you to describe your personality, history, body, beliefs, or social identity. It is a way of turning your attention to the source of sense of I. In the instructions traditionally attributed to Ramana Maharshi's teaching, when a thought arises, the practitioner may ask, to whom has this thought arisen? And the answer is, to me. Then the practitioner asks, who am I? The purpose is not to produce a verbal response. The purpose is to turn your attention toward the one to whom the thought has appeared. This is very close to the movement we are exploring here. A thought appears. You notice that it has been known. You recognize that it has arisen to me, right? Then, instead of following that thought, you turn your attention towards the sense of me, the apparent subject or the knower. Ramana Maharshi described the purpose of self-inquiry as turning the mind towards its source. In his teaching, the I thought is not the pure self. It is the sense of individuality that sense I am the body, I am this person, or I am the one that experiencing all this. Self-inquiry examines the sense of I directly. Who is this I? Where does it arise? Can it be found as a separate entity, or is the sense of individuality itself appearing in awareness? This is why Ramana Maharshi spoke so extensively about it. For him, the direct investigation of the I is more immediate than collecting concepts about reality. He repeatedly redirected attention away from objects and towards the source of the subject. So, when you ask who is aware or what is aware right now, we are working in the same general territory as Ramana Maharshi's self-inquiry. However, we should be precise. Awareness of awareness meditation is a broad contemporary expression. Ramana's specific teaching was self-inquiry. The two can overlap, but they should not be treated as perfectly interchangeable. At this point, you may be thinking, if awareness is already present, why is this practice difficult? It is difficult for a very simple reason. The practice is simple, but the mind is conditioned to look for objects. When you ask, what is or what am I aware of? The mind knows how to respond. It can point to a sound. It can point to a sensation. It can produce a thought, an image, or a memory. But when you ask, what is awareness? The mind often tries to turn awareness into another object. It may search for a special sensation. It may imagine a light inside the head. It may look for a spiritual presence. It may generate a concept such as awareness is infinite consciousness. But the concept itself is not awareness. The image itself is not awareness. The sensation is not awareness. All of these are objects appearing in awareness. This is the central difficulty. Awareness can be found in the same way that a sound, a sensation, or an image can be found. You cannot stand outside awareness or look at it from a distance. You cannot make awareness into an object separate from yourself. Therefore, the practice is not about finding a new experience. It is about recognizing that is already present in every experience. Therefore, the practice is not about finding a new experience. It is about recognizing the knowing that is already present in every experience. Another difficulty is that practitioners often expect awareness of awareness to feel dramatic. They may expect deep silence, bliss, visions, energy, or powerful spiritual state. Sometimes unusual experiences may occur, but they are not the essential point. A simple moment of recognizing that awareness is present may be very, very ordinary. It may not feel impressive. It may feel like nothing special. That ordinariness is one reason it is easy to overlook. Now, let us make the technique practical. I teach it in 3 steps, beginning with a short grounding phase. I call it phase 0. Arrive in the body. First, settle into your body. Feel your feet on the floor, or feel the body resting on the chair or cushion. Notice the natural breath without changing it. Relax the jaw, shoulders, and belly. Allow the senses to remain open. Do not begin by trying to escape the body. Do not reject sounds, heat, discomfort, or thoughts. A grounded practice is more sustainable than one based on forcing yourself in a disembodied or blank condition. Now, here comes the phase 1. In phase 1, you will notice the objects. Notice what is appearing in your awareness. A thought appears and you quietly note. Thinking. A sound appears and you note sound. A sensation appears and you note sensation. It is simply a way of recognizing experience clearly without immediately lost in its story. You are not suppressing the thought. You are not rejecting the emotion. You are simply noticing this is an experience appearing. Now, here comes the phase 2. In phase 2, you will notice the object as well as the subject noticing the object. How do you do that? After noticing an experience, recognize that it is being known. A sound is present, and awareness of that sound is also present. A sensation is present, and awareness of that sensation is also present. A thought is present, and awareness of that thought is also present. You may ask at this stage, what is aware of this? Do not answer intellectually. Simply notice the fact that the experience is known. For a moment, allow both sides to remain visible, the experience and the awareness of the experience. Now, here is phase 3. So, in this phase, you will now gently shift the emphasis away from the content. You do not need to force the content in the background. Simply become interested in awareness itself. You may ask, am I aware? Or, where is awareness? Or, can awareness be aware of itself? These questions are not designed to generate a verbal response. They are pointers. Ask the question and then stop searching. Let the question turn your attention back to the awareness. If there is a brief recognition of open, clear, or empty knowing, allow awareness to rest as itself. Do not try to hold it. Do not try to reproduce it. Do not become excited if it happens. You may become lost in thought. You may hear a sound. You may feel an itch. You may become absorbed in an emotion. This is completely natural. When you notice that attention has moved away from awareness, do not criticize yourself. Simply begin again. Notice the experience. Recognize that it is known. Ask, what is aware of this? and then gently return to awareness. You may move from phase 1 to phase 2, then phase 3. You may move from phase 3 back to phase 2. You may become completely absorbed in your content of your experience and need to begin again from phase 1. This movement is not a failure. The practice is not to remain permanently in a particular state through force. The practice is to become familiar with the turning back. So, the entire technique can be summarized in 3 movements. Notice what is appearing, notice that it is known, and finally, notice the awareness that knows it. As I said in the beginning of this video, I have already provided a guided meditation practice in a separate video. You can find the link here in the bottom. In that video, you do not need to remember every explanation from this video. Just follow the instructions simply. Thank you.